performance. And today's conversation will go over sort of what does it mean to be a performer on stage, and what goes into the storytelling, what goes into the songs that you select, what goes into the art of actual performance. And we have two wonderful, beautiful experts here that I'm going to call out on to our virtual stage to tell us more about this. Stacy, Antonique. Up, up, up. Yeah.
Hey.
How are you all doing today?
Good. You muted, Stacy.
Stacy's muted, but very happy to be here. So before we get to the conversation, you're not a stranger to the music forward session. So please tell us please tell us who you are again and what brings you to the conversation.
Well, first of all, I love Music Forward. I love that you guys are just sharing the knowledge and the love in this kind of crazy industry that we are in, because we are so passionate about what we do. I am a Grammy-nominated singer and a film, television, and Broadway actor, darling. And just grateful. I'm just a girl from East Orange, New Jersey, and just grateful to be doing what I love.
Yes. Thank you. Stacy, introduce yourself to our audience today and what brings you to the conversation.
Hey, y'all. I'm Stacy Barthe, and I'm a singer-songwriter. And a bunch of other things. I actually cook and clothes and paint, a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I mean, singer-songwriter.
Cool. So the reason why I brought you two together in this conversation is because you all have been doing the damn thing for years now. You all have had great success in being performers. And what I'm looking to get out of today's conversation is what actually do you all put into being a performer? And we talk about storytelling and preparation, audience engagement, and confidence. I want to dive deep into all of that today and really provide our audience with insight around everything that I just said. Before we get into that, I want to dive deep into your careers because I'd be remiss not to be. And I'm gonna fanboy all over both of you because I've done the research and it is great. So it's the
exciting hostesses with the most.
Thank you.
Here for you.
Yes, tell my boss. Give me some fans there.
I'm going to steal you. I love it.
Antonique, let's start with you. So, I didn't even know where I started, but let's talk about performer because you're both a singer and an actress. And before I sort of dive deep into the facts that I have, I want you to tell the audience sort of when did you start performing? When did you know sort of being a singer is what you wanted to do?
Since I was like 3, like honestly. Probably before I could really articulate words really well, I heard Whitney Houston's voice, and something about that voice was just like, oh my God, I just wanted to be able to sound like that. I don't know how she did it, but it was just like, that's what I want to do. And my parents had her album, and I just like the literal album, and I just listened to it and listened to it and listened to it and sang with it, and at some point I also joined the choir. About 7 years old, I joined the choir. So between singing to Whitney at home and singing in church, that was all I ever wanted to do. And then somewhere in there too, I guess I was about 6 or something when my grandparents got me a tape recorder, and I started making like different characters. And so I was the man and the woman. I was I would do radio shows where I was the host and the guest, and it was all me. Yeah, full on performance.
That's everything.
Shows, yeah. So really young, I've never wanted to do anything else ever.
Yes.
That is everything.
Yeah. Same for you. When did you fall into becoming a singer-songwriter?
Well, I never really wanted to be an artist or a songwriter. I've always been good in English, and I've always had a way with words, and I've always since a kid wrote stories and short plays and things like that. But when I was in school, I was trying to put groups together. I'm like, oh, y'all cute, you think? Y'all will look good together. Yeah. I swear to God, I thought I was Diddy. And I was like, I just. And then, my thing was managing, and songwriting came way later in my trajectory. And so I was going to St. John's University. Me and J. Cole went there. Vanessa Simmons went there. Mm-hmm. And me and J. Cole were in the same class. So we obviously, I heard him perform at a open mic one night. I was like, oh, this is lit. So I didn't know. So at the time I was interning for Jive Records, and he came to pick me up at an internship one time.
Yes.
And we went to an event. His car got towed, everything. Because I was like, no, you go right here. He's from North Carolina. He don't know. But I was in a rush. Got his car towed. Anyway, long story short, he's who he is and I am who I am. But that was around the time that I was like, we cross collateralized a lot of the things because we went to the same college. So a lot of us were into music.
Oh.
Sorry.
I know, you were so excited. You just
somebody was trying to call. Let me tell her not to call no more. She tried to call 3 times.
Yes. Well,
back to back.
Yes. Well, I want to pause there because I want to get into that story actually. But I'm going to start where sort of your careers, from what I know, sort of opened up.
So from that internship, I met Hit Boy.
Okay.
And Hit Boy is the one. This is how my career started. So as an intern, he thought I was an A&R.
Yeah.
And he sent me a gang of beats. This is when he was living in Fontana, before Polo de Don, before everything we'd done.
Yeah.
And he sent me a gang of beats, and I was like, this is the first time I had like heard music that I wanted to put words to. So I was about like 18 at the time. And so I was just like, I had to be like 19 or 20. And so Hit Boy, who is tattooed on me, is how I got into the music business, because he then was working with Tiana Taylor, and who I knew from Harlem. And he's like, yo, you want to come down and work on Tiana's album? I'm like, yeah, for sure. So then that's how I met my publisher. That's how I pretty much got my whole start. Moved to Atlanta, did the whole dance. But Hit Boy was my start.
Yes.
My official start.
Did you go, we always talk about in this conversation where like sort of a lot of our experts are in college and then they sort of have that opportunity and they seek it. So for you, you were in university, then you moved to Atlanta, and then did you continue on with your education? Was that something that was...
Oh, no, I dropped out. I mean, I regret it now, but I definitely dropped out. I was a pre-law major. I was, like I said, I wanted to be a manager, a lawyer, like that thing. And then I was like, how much they offering?
Fair.
Wait, just to write songs?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. So I was out, honey.
What brings on the regret now, looking back?
Just because, coming in as a 21-year-old, you don't know the ins and outs. You're just kind of anxious to get in, like you'll figure it out later. And had I known what I know now, I would have definitely finished my law degree, because had I finished my law degree, I wouldn't have signed the publishing deal that I signed. You know what I mean? And that's the joke. That's the gotcha. It's like, you dropped out of this so that you could then sign a shitty publishing deal. Got it.
It's interesting because what's been happening on a lot of the conversations over the past couple of weeks actually is that exact sort of story. It's like, I started college and university and to be this, a pre-law or whatever, and then I got this opportunity in the music industry, which I couldn't pass up. And then down the road, I was like, I wish I would have stuck with it, because it would have actually helped me in everything I'm pursuing as an artist. And so it's always an interesting space to converse, because it's like you said, you're paying me how much to write a song versus we know college is expensive.
Wait, but that's the gag. See, the thing is, they don't tell you that you're gonna have to live off of this advance, and that every time you travel and every time you book a hotel or studio, that you're gonna have to pay it back. So maybe 2 years into my deal, I'm like $225,000 in debt. I'm like, how? I didn't even get that money up front. Like, what?
Oh my God. And then Antonique, for you, what I know for sort of I won't say where your career sort of blossomed, but when you were in Broadway in Rent and played Mimi, that sort of was my introduction to you and to your work. And so how did you, I'm always curious and I always want to share on these calls, how did you get that opportunity? We see it in the movies where it's like, I was just walking by and someone heard me sing and then it all happened. And like, is that reality, or what's your story?
It kind of did happen like that. I hate to say it. I was a teenager and I was singing in New York, and an agent, she's for actors, saw me singing, and I didn't have an agent, wasn't even looking for an agent, because to me, I felt like I needed to establish myself as a singer. I needed to put out albums and be, at that time, like, I guess it was like Brandy, Monica, like I needed to be that artist. And she saw me singing and it's hard usually to actually for actors to get an agent. So the blessing was she saw me singing and said, I want to represent you. Do you have an agent? I would love to represent. I was like, okay, cool. Well, sure. I mean, I didn't have anything to lose at that point. You know, it was kind of a pivot, but she started sending me out for work. I booked a TV show. My very first job was 100 Center Street, directed by Sidney Lumet, who directed The Wiz. And so he pretty much gave me my start. And then the second thing I booked was Rent on Broadway. And so it's just
legendary.
You know, it don't always happen like that, but it is kind of one of those in the movie stories where you just kind of get picked out of obscurity.
What did you know about what did you know sort of about an agent and booking it? And did you know anything, or you were just like, here I am, take me?
I knew that I was going to want to have that one day.
Okay.
I knew about it. I knew that, but I thought it was like, okay, that's when you start to focus on acting. Like then I'll start focusing on acting. I actually thought I'd probably be a big singing star at the time. And then I'll start focusing on acting and get my agent, And so it definitely happened way before I thought that I would even be thinking about doing acting. And it ended up kind of taking me in another direction, which then actually led to my music coming out and all of that. So it was like a blessing, but sometimes you just kind of have to see what's being put in front of you and really gauge whether this is the path that you're maybe supposed to take. Like Stacy. I mean, I know you're talking about the debt and all of that. That is whack, the deal.
Well, I mean, that's what I want people to know about publishing deals before you want to go sign one.
No, I feel you.
You gotta know.
But that path, that music writing and artistry and creative path was put in front of you, and you could have decided to like, no, I'm still gonna just do my lawyer manager thing. And we all know from your work that it was definitely God's plan for you to be an artist and a writer. I mean that's just so very clear. So I had that same moment. My focus was music at the time. And I could have said, no, I don't want no agent because I ain't trying to act right now. Like that's going to be later. And I would have missed out on a lot of opportunities that actually led to, my
being able to do your music comfortably the way you want to do it.
Right, exactly.
So let's go into a little bit about performance, right? Because Broadway is not an easy thing to do, right? It isn't like recording an album where you can, stop, let's go again. It's
I haven't come back.
It's everyday rehearsal. Sometimes you've got your matinee performances, and it is constant on your vocals. So what was the training and preparation for that opportunity of being on Broadway?
Well, when you first enter the show, you have about a month to learn everything, and the rehearsals are grueling. I played Mimi, so I had to dance and stuff. So I remember, man, early in the rehearsals, my legs were hurting so bad that I literally couldn't walk. But I had to rehearse the next day, and I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. So the rehearsals condition you for the performances. That's the cool thing about Broadway. It's kind of built in. Like they already have a format. So you come in and the rehearsals condition you. You learn everything, and then you're just kind of put up there, but you're prepared at that point. What you're not prepared for, and you're never prepared for, is anything can happen on Broadway. I've had people have passed out literally and had to be like drug off the stage. People have, lost their, stuff. Yes, and they had to clean that up and or get off stage and fix that. People have fallen and stuff has spilled and stuff has broken, and everybody has to figure out how to keep the show going because the show must go on. So even when that person fell out, everybody kind of was looking around like, okay, how do we? And then we had to wait for somebody else to come in for them. Right. And then you keep going. It really does not stop. They figure out a way to keep that thing going. That's what the understudies are for.
Right. And the whole time you're just in character, just watching it all happen.
It's crazy.
I'm interested in the fact because Rent isn't a new Broadway production, right? It's been around for a while. There's been a movie adaptation about it. So you're coming into this Broadway setting where you're having people who have played it before you. And when we talk about performance, sometimes that's a thing where you're taking on a character. And so I don't know if it's whose performance sort of inspired you to, or who did you sort of engrave into your performance of Mimi, or did you say that I'm going in there blind and I'm gonna sort of make it my own?
Well, see, here's the thing. I came in around 10 years after Rent had been out.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to see, during my rehearsals, I got to see other Mimis. Carmine Allers was Mimi when I first saw the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so you start to pick up things. And also, the people who are there before you, the people who are doing the show before you, have gotten critiqued by the director and the producers, and so this is what they want to see, this is what the director wants. So you do look at it and go, okay, this is what they want. And then as you're rehearsing, you figure out with them what your me is, you know, what how are you going to do it. And so you can definitely steal a little bit of stuff from other folks, but the rehearsal process is how you figure out how you're going to bring your thing to it. And my thing was definitely adding more, you know, runs and more like longer notes and high notes. And I was switching up stuff, and at first they was like, and I was like, no, just
let it happen.
Right. And then actually everybody loved it. Like they were like, the fans loved it because I was doing different things vocally, and I was crying real tears every night, which my dad didn't like because he was like, you know, I don't think it's not healthy. So, but I felt like it was it helped people really feel it. If I'm really feeling it, then you're gonna really feel it.
Yeah.
And so it was taxing on my voice and my body. I didn't have a life when I was in Rent. I didn't hang out. I was literally living to be ready for the show. We had the really hard schedule. So I you know, it was literally about just keeping my body and my mind and, you know, my emotions, my voice ready for the show every night.
How did you maintain your voice specifically? Are there any tips and tricks you can share with our audience?
For sure. This is, I mean, it's stuff that I'll even do more stuff that like I use now. But water, a lot of water. Because when your voice is dry, you can't sing when your voice is dry. So I will also say, you know, all the weed smokers and cigarette smokers, that's definitely not great for your voice. You might want to, you know, oil it up if you're using a little THC oil or something, but the smoke is definitely very drying. So if you do smoke, you're going to have to super hydrate, like a gallon a day. Also vocal coach. So I have the best vocal coach. He actually coaches Celine Dion. His name is William Riley, Dr. William Riley. Love Dr. Riley. I should have told him about this. In fact, one day maybe you should interview him because that was so.
I already wrote the name
down. He's amazing. So he, you know, he taught me different exercises, things to do. I actually started working with him while I was in Rent. And he helped keep my voice, you know, from getting jacked up 8 shows a week. But you warm up really great. You want to sing a certain way, so that's where you want to get trained, because in order to hit those same notes, and this is just not on Broadway, this is on tour, this is, you know, wherever, in the studio even, because when you're trying to record a song and you got to hit that same part because you want to get it perfect, you got to hit them notes all the time. You want to be able to sing from a proper place so that you're not damaging your chords and getting nodules and stuff, because ain't nobody got time for that. And I love to have I can't find the box. I wanted to show you the box, but I get it from Amazon. It's called Vocal Zone. And it's a little like a little menthol candy. And I actually sing with it right here under my tongue.
Oh, wow.
When I tell you, it just helps keep you lubricated and open. But there's different candies. I used to use Grethers pastilles. Those are good, sugar-free. But right now what I've been using is Vocal Zone. I get that from Amazon. They're not that expensive. And I pop one of those whenever I'm about to sing. I pop one in my mouth, and I try to keep them. If I'm doing like a full show, I keep it in my pocket. So when it's finished, you know, they dissolve. So when one is done, you just pop another one in for the show. That kind of stuff keeps you through the whole thing.
Good to know. So while I know that we may have lost Stacy, but while I wait for her to pop back in, I wanna continue down. There we are.
I'm here. I'm just like doing other things.
No. So, Stacy, we were just talking about, I'm sure you heard everything. So I want to continue on this pathway of sort of your careers. And you talked about how you were connected with in college, and then you got the opportunity to write some songs. And then you landed your first placement, which was Blur on Britney Spears' Circus album. So talk about, first of all, Britney. Just pause there.
Britney.
Not Beyonce, but Britney is, you know, she was our princess. She's no longer with us. But what was that experience, and how was that opportunity presented to you?
I was at the time, Sierra and I had the same manager, Falana Williams, and I was working on her album. It was about 2007. No, I want to say 2008. Yep, 2008. And so, you know, I was in the studio with Sierra all the time. So when she worked with Danger, she brought me along, and Danger produced the record. And him and I just kicked it off right away. And that became like a longtime collaborator of mine. Like, so he called me into the studio at, I believe it was Chalice. And he kind of just left me with a 4-bar loop.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then I had to kind of fight through, honestly, that session. That's why I really like to work with musicians, because that session, you know, when you leave somebody with a 4-bar loop, now I have to like make a hook and make a hook and, you know, just kind of co-produce it literally, even though I'm not getting credit for it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was quite grueling, but I also had to get like that song was very much like true to life. It was a blur because I didn't even remember getting back to my hotel because I had to lively it up, honey. I'm in that big ass room with just me and the engineer. It's dark. I'm saying I called some people over. Yeah. And it became a party. And I literally woke up in my hotel room the next day. Couldn't even remember last night. And then Teresa LaBarbowitz hits me like, yeah, we love the song. And I was like, what song? Yeah. Like, it was a literal blur because I got and I had just started drinking at the time. I said, oh. So I even thought that my rental car, because I was living in Atlanta at the time, I thought that my rental car was stolen. Then I called Chalice and it was like, no, your rental's here. We had to put you in a cab. So this was back in the day before Uber, before all of that. So they put my ass in the cab. So that's how Blur came about. Yes, listen, true. We love an authentic story here. We have a question in our chat. What is a four-line run? I think, or a 4-line loop. Sorry, I'm getting this wrong. A 4-line what? A 4-run loop. Hold on, let me pull it up for us. Oh, a 4-bar loop. Yeah, a 4-run loop. Basically, the most basic beat you could have. Doesn't change. It's like the first 4 bars, which is like nothing really. So I kind of made, you know, magic out of that. I was like, you know, damn, where the chorus at though? when you both got it. Yes. When you both are sort of writing songs and thinking about sort of putting pen to paper, are you thinking about how this will translate onto a stage and what the performance could look like? Honestly, at the time, I wasn't really thinking about that, you know, and it wasn't really until I started working with like Miley did I even, you know, I'm like, damn, what would she sound good singing in a stadium? You know what I mean? And then you got Adore You. Well, that's another story. Yeah. Because I really wasn't trying to give sis that song because it was the first song on my album on P.S. I Love You. Yeah. And I was like, babe, I'll write you another song. Like it's, you know what I mean? That's like the opening song on my album. So then the producer, he's like, come on, Stacey, it's Miley's that. I like, I get it, babe. I love her. Yeah. But however, I'm not like compromising that. Like, come on. So they went behind my back and cut the song, which thank God, because she got me recouped out of my publishing deal. Yeah. Honey, I'm good for a sabotage. I'm like, nope, that's my first song. Yeah. Right? So thank God she cut it because that literally got me recouped out of my publishing deal after being signed there for like 8 years, you know? But yeah, Miley. That was my music story.
Antonique, how about you when you're putting together sort of your set list and getting ready to perform? Or sorry, I'm jumping to the next question. My last question was, when you are sort of writing songs and you're putting together that idea that I've got something on my chest and I want to put it into song, are you thinking about how this could translate on stage?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's mostly thinking about, I'm usually like Stacy, like whatever is happening, that's what I'm writing about.
Yeah.
And so it's usually about getting stuff out that's in the moment, more so not so much the show process. But somewhere in there you start to feel like, woo, this is gonna be dope live. Like you do start to feel like that. Like later on, like when you're recording it, you start to feel like I'm a love singing this one, yo.
That's the thing about recording, because the industry standard now is like using auto-tune and all these effects while you're cutting the record. Right. And I learned how to sing through auto-tune, truthfully.
I can't do it.
And then but the more I did it, when I would sing the songs like along with the song, that's literally what taught me the pitch and the whole thing. Because I was in a dark ass studio for years, not thinking I was ever gonna perform on stage, not thinking that I was ever gonna. So I got my life in the studio. You know what I mean? So it wasn't. I feel like my music was always way ahead of what I was as a performer, because I never wanted to perform. I just kind of just naturally had a thing, and it became what it was. But that wasn't like my goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. It's interesting because I don't know if you both know this, but you both released great pieces of work in 2015. And so look, the facts are coming in. So Antonique, you released your EP Love Is Everything. And so I want to talk about
that album is everything, boo.
Thank you.
Yes. I want to talk about
my niece. She's trying to order food. Hold on. Yes, you were, girl.
So Antonique, you and Stacy both have this way of, when you all are creating music, you sing from such a raw and authentic place, right? And for someone who doesn't have emotions like myself, it's interesting. It's interesting to connect. And so I'm wondering, how do you take such powerful story, and it comes from such a true place as well, so such powerful storytelling. What is your advice on translating that authenticity? Oh, I can't say that word today. Translating the realness on stage.
It actually, the acting, that's where the acting bug does kick in, because sometimes after you've sung a song 50 times, or even what you were writing about, a year ago or 2 years, however old the song is, it doesn't necessarily hit you the same. So that's where a little bit of that acting bug comes in for me, because I can literally put myself back. I'm acting. I'm pretending that I'm going through this same thing at the time as I'm singing it. So I don't know. I mean, if you're not an actor, I would think maybe it would be good to just take a couple of acting lessons but go into it not saying I'm trying to be an actor, but to talk to the acting teacher to say, I want to be able to translate my songs and emote my own songs. So how do I do that? I would suggest that, because acting, always kind of came natural to me. And I believe that's how I'm able to really, come off with those emotions while I'm singing, is because, that I just bring in that other skill that I have into it.
I agree with that. I mean, I've never acted, professionally, but I've been pretending all my life, so I feel like I'd be good at it. And so having to put myself, when I'm consciously writing for somebody else, when I work specifically for or with an artist, I go through therapy with them and talk, and we just talk about life, because I'm not the girl that's gonna come in and give you even my party songs are deep. I wrote Cheers for Rihanna. And it was life's too short to be sitting around miserable. People gonna talk whether you're doing bad or good. You know what I mean? It's it's still always gonna give a message. Yeah. So, but I have to place myself in these different situations when I'm writing. You know what I mean? Objectively.
Right. And so then you made the decision to actually release your debut album, which is called Becoming, in 2015. You translated this 17-track work of art. And so you took the beautiful sort of situations that you were going through. And I think Becoming is so beautiful because it is this sort of sectioned out emotional sort of letter to the world and to yourself, because you were going through a bit of a transition. So I'm gonna stop talking because obviously I'm just explaining the whole thing.
I love that.
tell
I
us.
wish she was on my team at Motown at the time. Honey, they didn't get it. I was giving songs about suicide.
Yes.
Honey, they were like, yeah, I don't think the Black community wants to hear that. And now look, all my friends are dead.
Yeah.
Push me to the. I'm like, I was just way ahead of the suicide curve.
Yes.
Sure.
So, 2 questions. One, tell us about the process of sort of building that album, and then the second question is similar to Antonique. How do you communicate such raw emotion on stage while still being authentic?
I think that I'm sorry, babe. You got it?
Yeah. Oh,
no, I mean, just for me, I would say that like similar to acting, it's like I'm a method artist. So I only sing about what I go through. So by the time I hit the stage, like there are times that I sing songs off of Becoming. I'm like, oh, I'm not depressed or suicidal anymore, but goddamn, like, you know, it just takes me to that place. You know what I mean? I think the authenticity lies in the record, and then the natural ability to feel what you wrote and feel that emotion and the connectedness in it. You know?
Do you ever find, for both of you all, do you ever find that the performance changes based off of where you are in your life? But you both wrote these sort of these works of music, and we're in different places, and now you're performing them from like a place of happiness or a place from success, right? And so, is the performance affected by that?
I think I'm less emotional about the performance because I'm kind of disconnected to the feeling that I'm feeling. So now it's more from an overcoming place.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's more from a, like, we all got the same scar, pull your Band-Aid off and I'll pull mine off kind of vibe. So it's just from a more healing space than a hurt space.
That's good. That's really good. I try to go back into the hurt space just for that moment when I'm singing the song.
Yeah.
So I transport to the hurt place and then come out of it. But yeah, I try to feel a little bit of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's not uncommon in artists. You hear about it all the time where some of them are using drugs and supplements to get them into that emotional space again because they want to be able to convey it on stage. And so I'm always curious about what is that toll on you as a person to have to relive that in performing such heart-wrenching songs. So thank you both for sharing that. I want to take some questions from the audience. Julius asked, speak to us about the importance of split sheets in situations where you created a hook but wasn't given credit or paid for the 4-bar loop you created. So Stacy, this is good.
Well, the split combo is always interesting because, you know, it's all love when we create and we together. It's a vibe, and nobody wants to address it when it's a vibe. You know what I mean? It's when the song gets placed or something is happening with the song, then all of a sudden everybody has amnesia about what they've done. Yeah. Here's what I do. I voice note everything I do, and I highlight every lyric I wrote, babe. So I'm not into giving publishing. I don't want nothing that ain't mine. You know what I mean? So I'm not into giving away publishing just because you were sitting in the room. I'm not splitting it 4 ways because you were the 4th person, love. I'm just not. I just want what I want because it's like I wrote what I wrote. Yeah. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna highlight everything I wrote and I'm gonna voice note that motherfucker so we have no confusion. And then at the end of the session the next day when we've settled, hey babe, yeah, here's what I'm thinking. Yeah. And then I hit my publisher and I hit them with my splits. Yeah. So that we can come home and discuss it later. But people get real, you know, amnesia when it comes down to when babe, you didn't write that. Yes.
Antonique, how about you? Do you have that same experience, that same approach and experience?
I mean, it was a little bit more like it wasn't so many people in the room with mine, so I didn't have too much of that. But yes, I know from some past stuff and from other people's experiences that there's no splits could be a real problem. It really
Look at how you splitting up, honey.
Sitting there, ain't wrote nothing, was just in the room, ain't said nothing the whole time, was just bopping, but then want to get some kind of credit.
See, that's why I hit with the recorder. Like, no,
Yeah.
no, no. We could watch what happened, love.
Ooh,
We can
I
actually
love
hear
that.
it back.
Like, no, here's the whole session.
Yeah.
You
No,
ain't
no,
said
there's
nothing.
no confusion here, love.
The behind the scenes.
Here's what happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Antonique, for a question for you, what are some tips on building stage presence and songwriting skills? Also, what are ways to overcome a fear of rejection?
Whew, fear of rejection. I'm still working on that a little bit. I'm a Leo, so we don't like rejection. But it is like the most things you're gonna get in both sides of the industry, music and film, television, and Broadway. It's like 99.99999% rejection. So you really do have to get a real comfort level with it and not take it personal, and know that you are enough and that you are amazing and that you are talented, and those no's don't have anything to do with you. It has to, a lot of times it has to do with really stuff out of your control. On the acting side, it's like the person was taller. They needed somebody taller, and they needed somebody, browner, or they needed somebody, thinner or whatever. Like, it could be whatever. I've not gotten it for many reasons, but I have to remember that it's not because I'm not talented. And, when it comes to music, I've had A&R say I sing too good, and they didn't want to sign me because of it.
Yeah.
Which I was just like, I
Wow.
know. That's why I went independent, Stacy.
Wait. I think too good. That's a gag. I can't.
Right.
So I thought it was crazy too. So, you get rejection for all kinds of reasons, and you really cannot take it personal. So that, I just think, self-care, building yourself up. Like, I got a little playlist of, like, hype,
Yeah.
yeah. And every day, when I'm taking my shower, I throw my hype music on, and I like try to constantly build myself up. I meditate. I got my little Peloton, which makes me feel amazing. Like, literally, that bike is crazy.
Yes.
But it just, those are the kind of things that I do daily to try to circumvent. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Counteract the rejection. Because even when you get successful, I mean, even if you look at like the top, there's sometimes only one slot. There's only one number one slot.
Right.
So in the biggest, it's between Beyonce and Rihanna and such and such and such. Like, there's only one top slot. So if, the box office is going to be, the one movie, and it's this one and that one and that one, or the movie might be between Denzel and Will Smith. So even at the highest of all levels, you're still going to get some rejection, because not everybody, if it's one thing, everybody can't do it. Only one person can do it. So, the best song, only one person can win it in that year. And so you can't look at it like something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
You gotta know that you are dope. You are the best at being who you are and what you do. In fact, what's this girl? Sinshia, bitch, I'm the best. That's on my little hype list. I would listen to that almost every day. Like, bitch,
Walking
I'm the
trophy.
best. Yeah. So, you really do have to hype yourself up like that. And if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to do it. And so that's kind of what I would say as far as the rejection. And what was the other part, like preparing for?
Yeah, so it's about rejection, but also how do you go about sort of preparing for an actual performance?
So I usually the night before a performance, I take some serapeptase.
Okay.
Serapeptase is an enzyme, and it helps take away inflammation. So, if you don't had the wrong food, or if you've been talking too much the day before, if you take some serapeptase, it's something you can get at the vitamin shop. It helps take away the inflammation in your voice.
Mm-hmm.
I do a good workout, not something that's going to tire me out, but something that's going to give me energy. So, you want your body to be woken up before a show. You want to do your vocal exercises, get that thing warm, work all the little exercises that your person and the Dr. Riley, I do my Dr. Riley exercises. Yeah. And I really highly suggest, especially if you're going to be like performing a lot, you definitely need a vocal coach who's going to give you the tips to make sure that you don't lose your voice, because you literally could be up there and that thing will be gone. It's happened to me, even with being, even with all the exercise, all the preparation, it can still happen. You up there and your voice is just gone. As a matter of fact, I will say, I don't usually tell people this, but there was a
An
time,
excuse.
that I had some anxiety issues, and I was going through like personal stuff. It was some stuff, you know, some relationship stuff, and it was just really taking a toll on me.
Yeah.
And my voice was like, I would have shows, important shows, and my voice was just gone. Like, could not sing. And I was just like, what's happening? So I went to an ENT, and she looked at my chords, and she was like, well, your chords look fine. I think you're struggling with anxiety. I think because my voice would dry out. Like, I would have a great like sound check. Sound check was great. I'm wailing. Then as soon as I got on stage, everybody, the voice would go. And so she said, I think it's, you know, your nervous system, and it's causing some kind of instant dryness in your voice, taking your voice away. So what she gave me, y'all, and let me tell you, I don't really use it anymore. But if I had to sing on the Grammys or the Oscars or the Super Bowl or something major like that, where anybody would be nervous, it's called beta blockers, and you would get it from your ENT. So if you're struggling with anxiety and, you know, super stage fright, and you just feel like, or you got to sing at something that's so major that anybody would be nervous, pop a little beta blocker. And and it doesn't change you. It doesn't change your emotions. It doesn't change anything. It just slows your heart rate down. So that heart that's happening before a show, before a big performance, it's like this. It's normal. Okay. So you get to do you get to do your normal thing without that anxiety and that all of that extra butterflyness. And also without that, what I do is like I jump on the side of the stage. I just like shake it out. You just gotta shake it out and jump around, like literally do some like running in place and like right on the side of the stage before I go out. Like Broadway. I've been doing that since I was on Broadway. I would be on the side of the stage before the show started, and everybody's in places, and I would just be like, you know, shaking it out and doing my thing. And then they say, you know, action, everybody go on, and I still do that.
Stacy, let me ask you this question, and Antonique, I want to hear your feedback too. That sound check is crucial for an artist and for a performance, right? It's really the essential time that you have to be able to check everything. Is there anything that you're specifically looking for that you know that you need to see, you need to hear it to be right for you to be like, okay, I'm gonna have a great performance tonight?
I need that quarter and eighth note delay. I need that reverb.
Yes.
That compression. Sound people hate me. I'm like, babe, I'll call you out during the show.
Yes.
Okay. Are you trying to sabotage me?
Hilarious.
Because we had a sound check, but he must have forgot.
Yeah.
Come on, let's run the sound check right now, and I will run a sound check mid-show.
I hear that.
Oh, fair.
I hear that. I really hear that. That happened to me too, but I didn't run the sound check. I just struggled through the performance. So I appreciate that gangsterness that she was just like, look, y'all, wait a second, we just gonna get this fixed. Because the sound check is vital, and if you don't have the levels right, honestly, before sometimes it's rough. Stacy, have you ever found that you in sound check, it sounds great, and then when the crowd comes, it's like the sound is different, and you can't hear yourself as well? That's happened to me so many times. And so
because the density of the room changes when it's hollow versus when the room is filled.
Right.
Sound That's why it's good to do sound checks right in the middle of the show when everybody's there. Like, hold on.
How do you account for that? What do you tell your team to account for that?
I never really had nobody to speak on my behalf like that. Like, I mean, I did have one manager for 3 years, but I'm really the person that has to go like talk to my brother. Like, excuse me, hey, hi, I'm Stacy Barthe. Could you not? And you know,
could you not?
And I have no problems addressing people. That's the thing.
As you shouldn't.
Like, zero problems.
Yeah, it's something that we share with our artists all the time at Music For. Like, you are in control of what you look and sound like on stage. So just like to your point, Stacey, when you're like, I'm in the middle of the performance and it's not sounding right, like, let's turn it up. Like, you know what you want to sound like. You're the only one, so you have to be listening.
Yeah. And I'm like, and people love that authenticity. It's like, I'm not primed and preened. I'm not giving you Beyonce. I'm not giving you a full head, hair, honey, and heels and all of that. I usually take off my shoes as soon as I get on stage. Like I don't even like shoes. So, you know, I'm at every given moment is gonna give you authenticity. Like from the stage to the booth to whatever. Like I'm gonna have to keep it a buck with you.
Yes. I have just pause. The chat is blowing up for both of you. You all are giving them their entire life. So continue doing that. I want to take another question from the audience, and then I want to pivot a little bit. Sterling asked, how often do you interact with your musicians, and in what way? And I know we just talked about it briefly. Is it usually through your musical director, or do you give a lot of input? Stacy, I know that you just shared that you are the one who's giving the input.
Oh yeah, it's me and them.
Do you have someone sort of advocating on your behalf, or is it you?
I mean, the music director helps translate some stuff. Like you talk to them first usually, and they kind of help get everybody to get the band to a certain level. But then when y'all start to rehearse together, I would agree with Stacy. It's definitely me talking to all of them and, you know, fixing what needs to be fixed and things like that. Yeah.
Because it's us and them on stage. You know what I mean? Like we have to be in communication and vibe, because I might go somewhere else. I'm the type of nigga, I will cut out songs in my set and then put a whole nother, like just know all the songs, because whatever I feel I want to do, I'm gonna do it. So just be prepared.
Facts. Look, I want to go ahead.
No, I was kind of rounding it off. Like that's my band and I are like family.
Yeah, that seems to be sort of the consensus when talking to artists too. They're like, you spend so much time, especially if it's the band that you recorded with, like you spend a lot of time with them, and they're just as invested as you are in this song and the creation and the performance of it. I want to talk about the audience and the fans and how that plays into your performances, right? Audience engagement is a huge part of live performances, right? And there are some artists, and I imagine that you two might be some of them, that feed off of the energy, and that's sort of what fuels them while they're on stage. Anthony, could you speak a little bit to how the audience fuels you, but then also how do you engage the audience throughout your set?
It absolutely fuels you. I've definitely had like when you open up a show sometimes, like literally like, or an event, and they haven't properly, like they do the voice of God and you come out and people don't even know the show started. So you're standing singing and they're still like just eating and talking and you're singing. That is the worst feeling in the world. I mean, it's
niggas with the I'll wait.
You know what? I should have stopped. Like, guys, I'm here.
I'll sit Indian style on that stage so quick. No, guys, carry on. I'll wait.
Right, y'all talk. Y'all want to talk?
To be here. It's fun.
Right.
I got all night left.
Right, but yeah, that's a horrible feeling. If the audience isn't with you, it sucks. And then when they are with you, it's everything. It is. It's like I don't think drugs are better. Like it couldn't be a drug that feels better when an audience is with you.
When an audience is with each other, because I like to sleep before I go on stage. Like I like to be completely silent, like somewhere. Don't talk to me. Don't bother me. Like I don't drink before. Don't speak to me until after my performance. Straight up. Like, and I remember it like it was, I forget what award show, it was like some post thing or whatever. And everyone else had like a full band, and I'm going acoustic. And I'm just like, oh, these things sing. I'm here, no band. I'm just looking at the whole optic, like, okay. And it was last minute, like the guitar player only knew like 4 songs, and I like to go all over the place, but my band had been on tour. So I had to, and I had already like said I was gonna do it. So girl, I go up there. I'm just so over being there, and they gonna put me last. I'm like, I'm here with an acoustic guitar. You put me first. Get me out of there, and then let the party rock on, love. You don't close lit. They are completely not listening at this juncture. I hate performing in front of drunk people.
Yeah.
Like I don't really love it.
And
because
dinners.
And
with
dinners.
The pink and everybody's
I like to perform when you're here to see me. Like I don't like to be a part of the whole hoopla. It's like, because I'm not serving all of that.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel you.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is one performance or one moment in your career that you so far that you are very proud of and very proud of how you got there and what came of it? And Antonique, we'll start with you.
I performed in Times Square on New Year's Eve,
Yes.
2017. Yes, December 2017. It was 3 degrees below zero. And that's that alone I'm proud of. The fact that I got up there and was able to hold anybody's note.
Right, and that weather
below zero. Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, and it was like 1 million people in Times Square. And that I think that's the thing I'm most proud of. But honestly, I think I'm most proud that I did great in that weather because everybody else lip sang, like everybody else. They actually asked.
Because we're not fucking
They
that up.
asked. Yeah, Fox asked everybody to lip sync, so everybody lip sang, and even on the other stations, everybody lip sang. So because they didn't want to have a bunch of disasters because everybody went out, and I just was like, I just believe I can do it. I believe I can do it, and I'm crazy, and I did it. And Dr. Riley was right there with me, and he was, giving me all the little, we warmed up before and everything, and I did it. I sang. I did it. I hit all my notes and everything. So I'm proud of that.
Is there a time outside of like the weather sort of impeding on your voice where you make the decision whether or not you're going to perform live or you're going to sing?
Yeah. You just don't have it. I mean, you could just eat the wrong thing and acid reflux could jack you up and you just don't have a voice. So if you have a band though, sometimes you can bring keys way lower. If you get it, if you can work it out that quickly, maybe in sound check, everybody's like, are we dropping everything tonight? Everything going way low. We in Tony Braxton mode tonight. We like, low voice.
Right, we're gonna readjust.
I got it. It's going.
We're gonna drop that a half note.
Right. But if you don't have that kind of ability to pivot, say you're only doing a track show, you can't change all the keys. So you might have to go on and, do a little Memorex, a little lip singing, because it's just gone. And sometimes it's better to, lip sing a little bit than it is to be up there crack-a-lacking, because nobody want to hear that.
Stacy, how about you? One moment that you are just extremely proud of in your career this far?
I mean, this moment wasn't even like really a part of my career. I sung at Marshall Montano's wedding. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's basically like the Michael Jackson of Trinidad. And what I'm proud of is that 6 months prior to him getting engaged, I was super duper like into him. And then he calls me to sing at his wedding. I said,
aww.
No, it was beautiful. I mean, I didn't expect it. I thought it was just going to be like a little wedding, but it was like 40,000 people because it was opening day of Carnival.
Oh,
what?
He invited the public to his wedding?
Baby.
Oh my God.
Huh?
He invited the whole public to his wedding?
Well, because he's, like I told you, he opens Carnival every year.
Oh,
and this was supposed to be his last, like he made a big deal about this being his last show and he was going to get married at the show and da-da-da. So I sung their dance, their first dance as husband and wife.
Wow.
And I sung at last. And the way my voice was echoing through that stadium, baby.
I know it was
I got
amazing.
through. It was beautiful.
That's dope.
Well, we have 3 minutes left, and I'm gonna make a goal to wrap up on time. But I want to thank you all so much for being here. Before we go today, we've got a lot of different people in our audience. We've got industry experts in our audience. We've got young artists, young people who want to be in the music industry. Okay. I want to end this conversation on sort of words of advice that you all have for just young performers getting ready to be out on stage. What advice would you give them, Antonique?
I would say study, get good, find all the tips and tricks, learn everything you can, and just make sure you hone your craft just to be the best you can possibly be. Work really hard just at being the best you can be. Figure out who you are and what's important to you, and stay with that. Be you. Don't let anybody try to change you. Celine Dion told me that a long time ago. And occasionally through those years, I didn't listen, but she was right. Know who you are, be who you are, be proud of who you are, and express yourself. And don't like the no's don't mean no. They really don't mean no. They just mean something else is for you. So just really stay at it, be the best you can, and believe in yourself with all of your might. And put some people who love you around you. You definitely need a group. This industry, both industries, the entertainment industry in its whole is crazy.
Yeah.
And so you need people who love you around you, like rooting the heck out, like pulling you along sometimes.
Yes.
No, that's a fact. And I would also say, like, don't overthink it either, because I spent a lot of time overthinking and like just really not. And I'm like, I listen to some people's albums. I'm like, damn, they didn't overthink it. And, because we're such perfectionists, and I think we could get in our own way with our own thoughts a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, surrounding yourself with people that genuinely, like, love you and believe in you and not going to yes you to death, because you could have that too.
True.
But my thing is, because everybody has a different path to get to where they're going, and there's no one way to skin a cat. So your walk, I could share my story on how I got there, but it's not going to be the same as yours or Antonique's or anybody else's story. Everybody has their own individual walk. So, and that's worked for me, and spirituality. Like, really, because like I said, there's no one way to get there.
Yeah.
I've manifested everything and everyone into my life, whether I wanted to or not.
That's good, Stacy. We're going to manifest a song one of these days.
Yes.
Girl, it's been too many years. Don't play with me.
I've known Stacy so long, like 10 years.
Don't play with me.
I'll just be the guy in the room who's bopping his head, just expecting a credit.
Yeah, I'm back on Thursday,
expecting full credit. Thank you all so much for being here today. I want to thank our audience for being here and always tuning into Music Forward's Industry Session. You all have been amazing. Our guests have been amazing and have shared so much insight. Our chat has been loving you all throughout the conversation. We both have incredible fans who are dedicated to you. So thank you for sharing your insight and inspiration with Music Forward.
You were an amazing moderator, DeMarco. You better come through with the questions, honey. And this one's for you. How do you...
I love that we recorded that so that I can replay that every day.
You were awesome. I love talking to you.
Yes, let's keep it going. Well, thank you all so much for being here. And until next time, which will be soon. Also, shout out to
Anthony, please, let's connect. I'm back on Thursday, so
let's do it. I'm here.
Okay, babe.
I will talk to you all later. Thank you so much to our audience. Don't forget to fill out your survey.
Okay.
Bye.
Will do.
Bye.